This is Channel 8 News at 10.
This facility is going to help people in our workforce.
Coming up tonight, why the U.S. Secretary of Labor and other government officials took a visit to Lincoln.
Plus, hear from a Lincoln police officer who helped rescue a woman from her car after it was submerged in a South Lincoln pond.
Sometimes we don't want to wait too long if we think someone's in trouble.
But first, how Lincoln Public Schools was able to stop a potential threat. And good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. A student helped LPS stop another student from bringing in a BB gun to school today.
LPS is giving some of the credit to their online Safe to Say button, which is how they got the tip. Channel 8's Mackenzie Johnson spoke with the Director of Security today for LPS about the button that can save lives. Mackenzie?
Around 6 years ago, LPS started their Safe to Say button to give the community a way to contact them. People can submit all sorts of things, and they can do it all anonymously.
This way, it gives people a chance anywhere, anytime, with a phone or computer to tell us what their concern is.
On the homepage of the LPS website is a green button. It's called Safe to Say and is a way for anyone, a student, parent, teacher, or community member, to tell LPS about something they're worried about. It can be about anything, whether it's a mental health concern or a threat to school safety. Once they receive the message, Joe Wright, the Director of Security, says it's passed along to the proper people.
If people can tell us the name of the person they're worried about, what the nature of the problem is, maybe help us out with where they go to school, or some other things that we wouldn't really otherwise know, that helps us get a head start on things so we don't have to do too much research before we actually make contact with someone.
On Thursday, LPS saw how useful it could be. A student sent in a tip through the Safe to Say button. The tip mentioned another student that might bring an airsoft BB gun to school. Because they received that information ahead of time, they were able to stop the student and deal with the situation appropriately.
Right, if we can act in a timely fashion, we can stop something happening before it actually gets to school or in the school. A lot of times we'll work in partnership with the police department to call on homes of students or employees, even after hours, to make sure they're okay.
And submissions can be anonymous as well, which Wright says was an aspect they wanted to include.
The anonymous component is important. People are more willing to share at times with that capacity. There's a reason it's always available to people, because the sooner we have information, the sooner we can act. And sometimes we don't want to wait too long. If we think someone's in trouble, they may be thinking about self-harm or something like that, we want to get them help right away. Contact a parent or another trusted adult who can help that student, and waiting until the next day or waiting till Monday morning could be waiting too long.
Wright says LPS is going to implement a Safe to Help button soon as well, where anyone having troubles can talk with someone in real time. Wright says if you have a concern, it's best to take it to a trusted adult if possible, but the Safe to Say button is always available if you need resources for help.
Mackenzie, thank you very much for our top story tonight. Yesterday, we reported on a woman who was saved from her sinking car in a pond near 14th and Yankee Hill Road.
The person who pulled her out, a Lincoln police sergeant. And this wasn't his first time rescuing someone from the water. Just last September, Sergeant Tutran helped pull a man out of a pond where he crashed his truck. He says that experience helped him when he got the call yesterday that a 27-year-old woman had crashed her car in a pond.
By the time he got to her, the car was almost fully submerged. He could only see one back window in the trunk. Sergeant Tran asked not to be on camera, but we were able to speak with him today about the incident.
I reach inside, just grab at whatever I can, and then I felt two legs. I'm like, holy cow, there's actually somebody in here. So I wasn't really thinking. I knew that I can do it. I knew that I can run, I can jump into the water. I think that was, like, you know, I've done this before, I'm gonna do it again. If I didn't go in, I think she would have died.
Luckily, he was able to get the woman out of the car and back on land. She was taken to the hospital, but everyone is okay. And how about this? After saving the woman's life, Sergeant Tran went home, put on a dry uniform, and then came back to work.
All in a day's work, right?
What a hero.
Wow.
Yeah. In other news now, the American Job Center in downtown Lincoln held its grand opening today.
That's right. Marty Walsh, the U.S. Secretary of Labor, joined the mayor to talk about the importance of the center. Millions of jobs are coming back since the pandemic, and Walsh says centers like this one will help rebuild the economy.
And a lot of times they didn't have access. There are people today in the United States of America that don't understand where to go and how do they get their skills. And they have opportunities to really get in the jobs that we're creating today with just a little bit of training and a little bit of help. It happens right here.
The mayor says the center was funded through 2 federal acts, and officials hope the center will help lower and middle class people learn more skills to find higher earning jobs. For more information, a link to the center's website can be found on ours, KLKNTV.com. Tempty Incorporated and Lincoln's Airport are building a new manufacturing facility right here in Lincoln.
The companies announced their joint plans for the $22 million Lincoln Manufacturing Center. Tempty plans to use it to build trailer, boat accessories, and other metal fabrications. They hope the facility will bring 80 jobs to town. It's being built on the west end of the KLKN Enterprise Park. Officials hope to break ground before the summer starts. Now to the legislature. There's a bill that would allow full-time teachers to become substitutes more easily.
That's right. There was a committee hearing today on a bill that would eliminate a waiting period before full-time teachers could substitute teach.
Currently, the amount of substitute teaching is limited to no more than 8 days per month. LB 198 establishes provisions for retirement eligibility teachers who choose to not apply or receive retirement benefits when leaving their previous employer to substitute teach in excess of 8 days per month.
Here's basically how it breaks down. Right now, if you're already teaching full-time and you want to scale back and just substitute, you have to wait 180 days and you can only work 8 days a month during that time period. This bill would eliminate the time period.
Yesterday's snowstorm is causing problems for blood banks in the states in the north.
That's right. The frigid conditions have been canceling blood drives. One bank, the Memorial Blood Center in Minnesota, is in critical need right now. Thankfully, they're partnered with the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, which was willing to lend a hand.
If we can increase the amount of people who donate blood with Nebraska Community Blood Bank, and we can take care of our